What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Optimize You. We are the podcast helping you optimize every single area of your life and just strive for the next level. And if you're new here, welcome. We're excited to have you. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're watching so that you don't miss any of our episodes that we drop every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you're not new, all we ask is that you share the podcast. Share it with one person in your life, friend, family member, coworker that you think could benefit from this podcast on a regular basis so you can help us grow. So today we are just going to fucking go into what me and Matt are doing right now. We kind of try to do this on a monthly basis. I personally think this is my favorite kind of episode that we do because it just flows really good. And because you can kind of get a peek under the curtain or behind the curtain. I don't know if anybody goes under the curtain these days, but you can get a peek behind the curtain of what we're doing. And this is, as we're recording it, we're in the midst of holiday season. It's December 28th as we're recording this podcast. And I know that I've been going through a lot more meals out, meals that are not as quality. And so hopefully today you can gain some insight into like what Matt and myself do to stay in good shape and to really kind of move the needle forward, or to just the mindset that we have around the holiday season and just what we're doing right now. And so Matt, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, my man? Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. We're right around the holidays. So there's some stuff that I know for sure I'm doing differently and strategically during this time. And you and I kind of already talked about, the eating habits around the holiday too, which aren't going to necessarily be up to speed or on par for everybody during this time. But let's talk about and dive in what we're doing specifically, man. I know you mentioned to me your family's in town. You've been eating out a little bit more. It is around the holidays. So what's going on with that? What's going on with you?
Yeah, dude. So recently my family got in town on Christmas and they're leaving on January 2nd. So we're in the midst of that. Seem to be going out, a lot more, at least every other day, right? We're going to breakfast. We're going to brunch. We're going to dinner. I think today we're going out to dinner. And also I, have a new girlfriend. And so that's been something where we're kind of going out maybe once a week or so as well. So there's a lot more meals out. And so like, I just really, when it comes to that, for me, I try to make the best choices at those restaurants, right? Like I had one of the previous meals that I had out, I had salmon with veggies, right? Like, so, and then I had sweet potato fries. So like I had something that maybe, isn't as healthy. And then I had some other things that are going to be really quality. Also, given you don't know what those things are cooked in, right? So that you're rolling the dice a little bit there, but I try to just make choices that I know are going to make me feel good. And then around this time with holidays for me, my plan with all of the holidays and events and stuff is just to like feel good afterwards. And so I'll have desserts, right? My mom brought so many fucking cookies in and I was like, Mom, and I've been eating them. I was like, but I was like, you're either throwing these cookies away or bringing them back with you when you leave. That's what I told her. I was like, I'm not going to have these in the house because I know myself. Like if I have them in the house, they are going to be gone very quickly. That is what happens. And so I have the knowledge of myself. I also just try to mix and match with meals, choose a healthy option at some. But then yesterday, I had pizza. Me and my girlfriend ordered pizza, and that's not, going to necessarily be healthy, but you don't need to always, that's why we talk and preach 80-20, right? It's not always going to be that way. But what I did, and I told Matt this before, I was like, normally it'd probably turn into, eating pizza for a few meals after, right? The leftovers. But I was like, I just do not feel like eating pizza a lot. So like what I did is I was like, all right, I'm going to give myself a little bit of this. I took one big slice of pizza. I took one garlic cheese bread. I put it in a Tupperware container. I threw the rest out. And so like today or tomorrow, I'll probably have like just that as a part of one of my meals. It's going to taste good. It's going to be good, but I'm not going crazy and like, oh, I need to eat the rest of this pizza. It just doesn't have to be that way. And that's not to say that you can't do that, but that's the approach that I'm taking with it.
The willpower on my guy is strong. He's got incentives right now. He's got motive. Yeah. I mean, that's really hard, man. On Christmas Day, we did something different this year too, which was we did taco bowls, which was really good. This is the first time I had ever done these like homemade taco bowls. So we kind of just had, think about all your kind of spread for your tacos. And then we had these molds that were like a star almost. And then you put the tortilla in there, then you bake it, like kind of broil it for a little bit, gets hard, and then you basically take it out of the mold and you got this bowl. And so then you can like fill the bowl with it. Dude, it was so good. We had never done that. And so that's going to be a new tradition going forward this year, was like taco bowls, man. I mean, you could probably have that at any time, but I don't know why, or maybe my sister came up with that, but damn, well done. I think it was her. I told her like, yeah, great job. Great option there. So that's going to be a new tradition going forward, is the taco bowls on Christmas, which is very, I would say, non-traditional, but yeah, it was amazing, dude. I'm the same way. I weigh myself on every holiday. I weigh myself in the morning and then I do it at night. This one was, I gained 5 pounds. So from the beginning of the day till when I weighed myself at night was 5-pound gain. However, I also walked 10,000 steps on Christmas too. So it wasn't like I was just there being lazy. We more so enjoy like movement and steps with the family. We kind of do that as like a family thing now, which is cool. So whenever we eat, or even before we eat, we go out as a family and we walk. We don't walk all 10,000 steps, but we'll walk, a mile or two together. And it's a really good time just to get outside, get some fresh air, take a little break, get the blood sugar levels balanced out a little bit after eating and having those spikes. And so, yeah, it was really enjoyable, man. And now we have, still not done with the holidays yet, but I would say I also strategically planned, coming off of my 16-week program where I was really focusing on dieting and cutting down, to right just before the holidays, I said, you know what, I'm going to get out of here. And a lot of my clients do too, so that I can enjoy these foods that we're talking about right now. So I don't have to be super worried about hitting a certain caloric intake or anything like that. I'm actually eating and focusing on building up my calories. So really good position. So those of you that are out there and you're worried about dieting or trying to eat super healthy through the holidays, it is going to be challenging. So that's why I don't encourage people to do it during that time, nor are you supposed to be in a diet or cut or caloric deficit for a big portion of the year either. It should be the shortest portion of the year. So why not just wait? I'm not saying go crazy through the holidays, but don't feel like you have to cut and be on a diet during the holidays. That's very difficult, and it presents a lot of mental challenges more than anything. And to each their own, but I'm just saying, for the majority of people, for the average person, trying to cut or be in a caloric deficit around the holidays is going to have its own challenges. Not to say it's impossible, but if you're thinking about doing it, there's other times in the year that you can do that too. So I strategically place mine to where I'm actually gradually increasing my calories during the holidays. It's just a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more fun. And then as we come back around to like spring, summer, I'll probably run through another one too and shed some body fat off. But that's just kind of my strategy and what I'm doing currently right now, man. And you got family in town. So family's in town for another week or so?
To the second. Yeah. So another like 5 days or so. And yeah, I mean, the thing, my family's the same way, active, right? Me and my parents have gone on some hikes. We're planning on going on another hike tomorrow. So, we're out there, we're getting that work in, we're doing that stuff. And I've talked about on some previous episodes how I have my sheet of paper that is my daily like 5 non-negotiables, right? So like through the holidays, those stay the same, right? The priorities stay the same. Like I still prioritize the things I need to prioritize. It's just, hey, there's going to be more meals that are less quality. There's going to be more desserts than normal. There's going to be all this stuff. But if you do it in a way, like sometimes what I'll do is if I know I got a big meal coming up, like I'll just have a little bit smaller of a meal earlier in the day, right? Like it's like my meals, because I generally eat 4 meals a day. Generally shooting, I don't track my calories, but that's another episode that we'll do here soon. It's just kind of on mine and Matt's different approaches between tracking and how I don't like to track and how he does. We'll do that coming up here within the next few months. You'll probably see that come through. But I just know, like intuitively, I have an idea of like how much I need to eat. And if I know there's a big meal that's maybe going to be like 1,500 calories, or that, I'm going to have a few cookies after the meal that my mom makes, I'll just eat a little bit less in my meals leading up to that, give myself room. Or like if it doesn't work, like I'm not going to try to make myself hungry, right? If I need to, it'll just be a little bit higher day of calories, and that's cool too. It's just a matter of the mindset around it has changed drastically over the years for me, where it's like, I understand, like if you can get through the holiday season and just stay the same, like weight wise, or be around the same weight, like that's a W. Right? If you can get from
Dude, that's a win.
You can get Thanksgiving to Jan 1 and you can be around the same weight, that's a W. And also what you talked about, for sure, dude. like I have a client who she has been in a calorie deficit, and she's kind of worried about it because it's the week she's got family in town. Is like, hey, listen, like we can have like a diet break this week. You know, you got the room to go up. Like, don't worry about the calories as much, right? Like that's something you could do too if you have been in a calorie deficit, or if you have been trying to understand there's maybe a few weeks here where it makes sense to not worry about it as much. Just enjoy yourself a little bit more. Now, don't use that as a way to just go crazy. I know in the past for me, like I would use that like as, oh, I'm not like, oh, family's in town, like I'm going to do this. Like, and I think where a lot of people go wrong is that they completely disregard everything about what they've been doing. Right. And then you're almost starting over at the start of the year when you go 2 weeks or like a month without, like, you're like, oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't work out. I didn't do this shit. You're like, oh, well, that's why the priority, we talked about priorities, I think I don't know. We've recorded a lot of episodes recently, so like it probably hasn't come out yet, but it eventually will. And priorities are so key of like keeping that list of like what needs to get done, and what non-negotiables you have, and daily habits that make you feel your best. And the holidays aren't a time where we just disregard that, right? You can still get these things done. And that's why we encourage sustainability within them, stuff that, you can do when it's crazy. Because I've had a few days with my family in town and different things going on where it's not been easy for me to get my reading in and my walks in and my workout in. But I've gotten those things in because they're a priority. And I'll just like kind of look at my schedule the day before and be like, okay, like when do we need to get this in? And I don't know what is going on outside my door right now, but like there's some shit going on out there, but hopefully it's not too loud on the podcast episode.
I can hear it.
Okay, good. Hopefully nobody can hear that.
Yeah. And one thing that you brought up too that's really cool is like, instead of just a free for all around the holidays with those 1 or 2 weeks that you're talking about, it's a perfect way to keep the guardrails on, right? And just maintain, like just shift your focus of trying to be perfect during the holidays and give yourself that, sometimes that 7 to 14 days or even longer, can give you the freedom that you need, but still it gives enough flexibility without you going completely off the guardrails. That's the way is I like to approach it, is like, just give yourself some bumpers. Like if you go bowling and you're using the bumpers, like give yourself the bumpers there. Don't completely just free for all and like throw your bowling ball in another lane, right? Like people are doing that. So it's like, put the bumpers up, you can bounce back and forth here, have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. And then that way it'll keep you mentally sane through the holidays. Also, you're going to be able to use that energy and fuel to really capitalize on it too. And just really enjoy time with friends and family and not have to stress yourself out. That's why Alex said, dude, if you maintain within a couple pounds from fluctuation from, be Thanksgiving all the way through the new year, like, huge W right there. Like we're going to take that all day, every day, because that's usually where people will gain the 10, 15 extra pounds just through the holidays. Yeah. Sometimes even more. So what are you doing right now, man, from the physical side of things? What are you doing with your workouts right now?
Yeah. So actually this week's a deload week for me. So I'm kind of just nice. Like I'm going in there, doing a little bit less weight, just kind of allowing my body to rest a little bit, but it's still the same shit. I'm working out 4 days a week, and I'm doing yoga 3 days a week. And I've been doing like, I've had a really good string here for like the last month where I'm doing like yin yoga at night. So like, that's kind of my nighttime routine, is doing like more deep stretches, like just doing that for anywhere between like 10 to 60 minutes. So like, I'll do some longer ones if I have a little bit more time. If I'm strapped for time and it's a little bit later night, I'll just do it for like 10 minutes and just kind of get something in. But I'm just doing the same shit. Like, I think that that's the key for me is that like, there's been periods of time where I'm like anybody else, where it's like, oh, well, at the first of the year, I'm going to start doing shit again. Right. And then you kind of make the excuse in your mind that you can kind of eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want and do all and just kind of go off the rails. But then what I've realized there is that you kind of almost have to start from square one again on the new year, right? You're almost rebuilding these habits up, which is the hardest part. It's hard to build those things back up. Right. There's a lot more resistance involved. So like I have now, today is actually day 31 in a row of hitting all of my 5 non-negotiables. So I'm at this point where it's second nature. Like I know I got to do it. It's easy. Like I said, it's not easy every day, but it's like, I know I'm going to do it. Like I know it's going to get done. Like I have a lot of confidence around it. And I maneuver my schedule based on when I need to do these things. It's like, oh, like generally I read at night. Like now I've been going over to my parents' VRBO and doing stuff with them and going and, hiking, and maybe today we're going to do like a putt thing and go out to dinner. And so I know that, like today I didn't have time I woke up really late. Like I got like 9 hours of sleep. I actually slept good for the first time in a while.
Nice.
And yeah, and I got up at 7:30, which is the latest I've got up in, I don't even know how long. Like I cannot remember the last time I've got up after 7 o'clock. And I got up, I was like, oh shit. I was like, I gotta get a workout in. So I went to the gym, and then I went on a walk and like kind of got some things done that I knew I needed to get done today. And reading probably won't get done till late tonight. But that's just the nature of how it is, right? Sometimes there's just going to be things, and if you got to stay up a little later to do the things that you say you're going to do, I think that's for me, it'd be like another 15 minutes, right? It'd be like an extra 15 minutes of staying up. So I just have like, I love that building, how like getting into that groove of where it is a habit, right? Where you do have that momentum. And now I have a lot of momentum, and I have sustainable things that I know I can do even when my life's crazy. And so I think I've talked about it probably way too much already on this podcast, but that's something that I'm really proud of, and something that like is the staple of my plan through the holidays, is just to make sure I hit those 5 things. If I hit those 5 things, it's a win. And if it's a crazy day, I look at my schedule and I put them, because all these things are on my calendar, right? Like I put them around and I maneuver them accordingly. Oh, I got a meeting here. Oh, we're going to go do this. Like the whole night is out. Like, let's make sure we get a morning workout in. Let's get up when we have to. Let's make sure we get a walk in at least 30 minutes in the morning. Let's make sure we get that reading done, right? Like it's kind of checking those boxes. And so how about you, man? Like what are some other things that you've been doing just over the holidays to help yourself out?
I'd be curious to know what your 5 things are too. I think you've told me before, but it was a while ago. Like real quick, what are your 5 non-negotiables?
Yeah. So number 1 is gratitude. Right after I wake up, I just have gratitude for everything, everyone. And this just actually, I forgot to do that this morning. Now that I'm glad you said that, because now I can do that like after this, because I'm out of my routine, because I was staying at my parents' VRBO one night, and like I'm a little bit out of my normal routine. So this is good. Which, I mean, even if I miss it, like it's not that big of a deal. Like I'm kind of in like that point too, where it's like, so that's number 1 is gratitude. Number 2 is a workout or yoga. So I'll just do like I said, 4 workouts a week, 3 yoga sessions a week. That's what I shoot for. Walks, at least 30 minutes of walking. I got 15 minutes of reading at least, and then like some sort of like nighttime routine or like meditation. So I like to combine that. That's kind of my yin yoga, is like I'll just breathe deeply, and it's almost like a meditation along with just some really good stretching to get myself into a great like rested place, just a great spot for sleep.
Love it. And that's funny you say that, because that's the thing I am working on transitioning right now, is the sleep. And more so specifically, I check the hours on my phone, and specifically where I was on my phone. Dude, it's so high. So I'm like, okay, what am I doing now? And that's granted, there's 2 hours, there's an hour in there for working out. There's another hour that I use it for walking. So like there's a couple hours in there that I'm not like literally focused and scrolling on my phone. It's just I'm listening. But still, I noticed I got out of my routine and my habit when I was going to bed, and usually my shutdown and wind down time, I'm putting my phone face down, and I'm using that opportunity to read, which I've been getting away from. So that's what I want to get back into. And I'm actually us having this conversation, I'm actually going to start it tonight, because it's been in the back of my head, like, oh, I know I should probably do that and get back to that. Whereas before, as soon as my wind down alarm would go off, I'd put the phone down immediately, brush my teeth, do anything lastly that I'd have to do in the bathroom, shower or whatever. And then as soon as I got in bed, I'd be reading my book, and I would read my book, and I'd set an alarm for a good 20, 30 minutes, anywhere in between there, depending on the day. And then I would be able to fall asleep really easy after that. Now I just find myself mindlessly scrolling through my phone, and I'm getting shittier sleep. I notice I'm staying up later. I notice it takes me longer to go to sleep because I've been looking at the screen light for so long. So just all habits that are no longer serving me, that once I was never doing, and now I've just gone down this slippery slope. So I'm like, oh man, okay, now this has become a habit. I used to actually not do this at all. And then I just let myself slide like 1 or 2 nights. And then before I know it, I've probably been doing it for like over a month now. So I'm like, okay, I've got to get back to the other thing because it's affecting me operating about my day, right? Meaning like I'm just getting less sleep, less quality of sleep. It's taking me longer to go to sleep at night. So that's the one thing that I'm really, really, it's been on my mind. I'm literally going to start it tonight. So I actually get kind of excited about it because I know what comes with it. I know the benefits and how I feel and how I operate when I do it. It's just the hardest thing is just to do it, right? It's the first step. But I know I get excited for the rewards, the outcomes, the byproducts that come from doing that, and how you just operate at a different energy level. My workouts are going to be better because I work out first thing in the morning. I'm going to be able to show up better for my clients. I'm going to be able to show up for anything that I'm doing with conversations with people or really anything, any type of engagement. I'll just be operating at a higher level. And I know because I've experienced it versus when I haven't been for like the last month or so. I'm showing up less than, right? I'm showing up less than I know I'm capable of. So that's why I get excited about it. Cause I'm like, oh, I know how much I'm leaving on the table right now. So yeah, sleep's huge, man. And that's the one that it's at the top of my mind right now, dude.
That's same. Like it's crazy how much better you feel. And I've been struggling with sleep. Like today was a really, really good night's sleep. But for me, it's been I would get like 5 hours of just out cold sleep. Like I have no problem getting to sleep. It's just out cold sleep. And then I wake up at like generally around like 3 a.m. and I cannot get back to sleep for the life of me. Or like I'm just tossing and turning for the rest of the night before I end up getting up. And so that's kind of what I've been struggling with. And luckily last night it was a really good night's sleep. And I was out cold basically the whole night, woke up at 7:30 and I was like, holy shit. It is late, but I needed that sleep, I guess, just with the broken stuff I've been getting. So I've been making that as much of a priority as possible. I've had later nights, I think that's just kind of been the last month I've understood. And we talked about this on the priorities episode as well, that should be coming out here relatively soon. If it hasn't, I have no pulse, no thumb on the pulse of like, I know we have it all listed out, but like it's sometime soon if it hasn't already come out, that, with dating, and I know you're also dating right now. I've kind of had that as a really high priority in my list, and so it's with that I know that like my sleep isn't always going to be as good, but I'm trying to just prioritize it every night I can, and I'm trying to do whatever I can. So like I had a later night last night, like with pizza, we watched some Netflix, hung out, and like I went to sleep at like 10:30, which is a lot later than I normally would, but I did everything that I needed to. I read after for 15 minutes and I did like a short little just guided yin yoga-ish type session on YouTube for afterwards. And so then I was sleeping at 10:30. It was all good. Like I'm still waiting to start my new job here until the 8th. And so like I can kind of wake up when I want to, but I think there's just more important things in my life at this point. And so I'm just kind of I still have like, I know how much of a priority it needs to be sleep, but I'm just doing my best with it. And I'm doing my best with everything that I can. And so I think that's good. And what other things? So like you are making sleep a priority. It sounds like you're going to get back to your routine, which as we know, that's kind of that's the hardest part for people, right? That first 2 weeks, like getting back on it and making it more of a habit. But are you doing anything else to help out that sleep?
As far as the sleep, no, not really. Those are the two things that I know if I do those, I still have it set, my wind down alarm, but actually abiding to it is another thing, right? Like that alarm can go off and I could just ignore it. And a lot of people set an alarm to wake up, but I set one to wind down every night. And it goes off at 7:45 p.m., meaning like that's not when I go to bed, but that's when I start thinking about, okay, what are the things that I need to do to set me up to have a good night's sleep? Because I'm going to go to bed here in the next hour or 2 hours, whatever, right? So it's to set up from a mental perspective, hygiene, anything I need to do from that side. And then really focus. I want to find a good book. I have a bunch right now that I just have on my bookshelf right now. So that excites me too, is like, what's the next book I'm going to read? Cause I haven't been diving in any books lately. I've just been off of it, to be honest. Like the priorities have been shifting. So I need to get back to doing things that feel more like me, that feel more aligned with me. And so I can get that. I haven't given up on everything, of course, but there's some things, some staples that I've kind of pushed to the wayside. Sleep being one of them, and then two, reading, and just really diving into a good book for me is the thing that excites me. I know it sounds old man style, and but like it gets me excited. It allows me to have that sense of growth. It allows me to have that sense of continuation and moving in the ball in the right direction. You're gonna have to send me, because what I could do is implement this in my wind down routine too, is what form of meditation you're doing, or yoga, sorry, the yin and yang yoga thing that you're doing on YouTube. Yoga. Yeah, you're gonna have to send me a link on that one.
I will. And for anybody out there, and a good guy who has he has like, I think at least 35 yin yoga practices on YouTube, just guided ones. Travis Elliott. He has good stuff.
Okay.
Yoga with Adriene is another one. She has some good, like just small, like she has some really good, like short practices, like 10 minutes that I'll use. I think yoga with Cassandra. There's a lot of people out there. If you type in yin yoga, you're gonna have good. And what yin yoga is for everybody out there is more of like holding stretches for longer. So it's great for recovery, but it's also great to kind of shift the system from maybe like a sympathetic or, stressed throughout the day, like awake, nice, alert, all that, to more of a parasympathetic, like rest and digest, more of what we want to get into before sleep. And so it's been really beneficial. Like I have no problems getting to sleep. Like I said, my problems have just been more or less waking up, tossing and turning after like 5 or so hours of really, really good sleep. And so I'm kind of working through that, but I think that's more or less, the stress of dating for me. I've been out of the game for a while. Yeah. And so like I think I'm starting to maybe shift out of that, because now, I'm no longer looking for somebody. I found somebody. And so now, it's more or less it's a little bit less stressful, I think, for me, as opposed to like when you're dating and you're trying to figure out like, oh, does this person like me? Like how many other people are they talking to? Like, all that stuff of just like all these stresses. Yeah. I think that was probably the main cause of my wake ups and tosses and turns, is that like once I got up, then my mind would go to all of these different things that I was thinking about. And then it would kind of be so super hard for me to get back to sleep, because now my body is in more of a stress spot or stress response, right? So then it would take me an hour or two to finally get back to sleep if I was even able to get back to sleep. So I feel like maybe that should start to get better through that. That's kind of my thought process there. But those are some guys and people that you can look at YouTube. Like I am a huge YouTube yoga person. If you need to go to in person, cool. But like I use most of my yoga is just like simple stuff. I use it mostly for recovery. So like when I say that I work out 4 days a week and I do yoga 3 days a week, I'm not doing like crazy yoga. I'm doing more of recovery based rest day yoga stuff. Like, some of that stuff might even be yin yoga in the morning, right? Like it's not some like hard taxing yoga, which there is out there. You can do many different forms of yoga. Yeah. It's very that. And then I hold those stretches at night, and that feels so good on my body, and I can feel it. Like I can feel the changes physically in myself doing more of that yin yoga. So yeah, I'd encourage anybody out there who's interested to try that out. It's very easy. It's very beginner based. Like anybody can do it. It's just a matter of, with yoga, just doing what your body allows you to do, right? Like not trying to push into these huge, you'll see some of these people like that do the practices on YouTube. They're pushing into these like crazy poses and like they're going deeper than you can, but that's what happens with doing more of it, right? You get more flexible. Your body allows you to go into a little bit deeper into these poses. So it's really, really good. I love it. And it's going to be a staple, I think, for a while in my nighttime routine.
And this is great too for people who sit down a lot. So if you guys are listening, you guys sit down at work a lot, tight hip flexors, right? You're in a sitting position more so than you're in a standing position, or then you walk and move during the day. Like it's going to be great for you. Like I notice for me, for sure, I'll get every once in a while my back will ache every once in a while a little bit. I'll only relate it to how long have I been sitting for. If I'm sitting for long periods of time, that's where I start to feel it. So just doing I like the yin form of stuff because you're holding stretches for longer time periods, which allows all of that stuff to open up, what we're talking about. And I'm assuming too, with those videos and the people that you mentioned, that there's different time domains, right? There's probably different durations. Some are a little quicker, like 10 minutes. And then you probably have upwards of like 30 or something.
Yeah, man. I'll do like this Travis Elliott guy. He has, some that are like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then he has some that are like 85, 90 minutes. And so like I'll do the longest I've done is like 60 minutes with him. And that's just like, I have a lot of time and I, maybe a little bit more sore. Like that's when I'll kind of mix those in. But you don't even have to do the whole thing. You could do a 60-minute one and then just do like 20 minutes of it, right? Like it's just balancing it out. Like, and yeah, it's really good. Yeah. It's something that I've really enjoyed and it's got me feeling better because I'm definitely somebody like hip wise, especially. I get really tight hips and my tips can kind of hurt. And that has helped me there. And it's so good for recovery. We talked about it on our recovery episode or on the episode, I think that we did around how to maximize your weights or how to skyrocket your weights in the gym. The recovery aspect is huge. And I think a lot of people miss stretching. I know I have for a lot. It kind of seems like more of a pain in the ass to do, but now I've kind of got into the groove of like I see the benefits and I'm diligent as well on after my workouts. Like I make sure to do mobility and whatever I need to do to get ready for the workout. Like I'm not going in and just starting to lift weights. Like I do everything I need to do before, but after the workout I'll go to the turf and I will make sure I get some good stretches in there, like maybe child's pose, just other poses that I'm not able to think of the name of. And then I'll go in the sauna and I'll stretch there. And so like I've been in a groove now for a few months of doing that. And then over the last month, I've added in the yin yoga at night. And my body's feeling a lot better than it has in a long time.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I can't wait to start implementing that. And stretching is, like you said, it's one of those things where it's like when you're in a rhythm with it and you're doing it really consistently and it's part of your habit and your routine, it's really good, right? It's seamless. It's integrated into your daily arsenal. And then all of a sudden it's really easy to get away from it. And then somebody like me where I don't notice that I'm getting away from stretching, I stretch post-workout, but I used to just designate like you are right before I go to bed or sometime in the afternoon where I'm designated specifically like 10, 20 minutes to doing it. I don't realize I'm getting away from it until I start feeling things like aches and pains here and there. And I'm just like, oh man, like, why is my back super tight? It's like, oh, well, when's the last time you were, spent a 10 to 20 minute session just on mobilization and stretching? I'm like, oh shit, I don't know. It's been so long. So yeah, it's one of those things like when it's part of your routine, stay on it as best as you can. Just like push-ups, right? Same thing. When people like want to increase their push-ups, I'm like, dude, stay on them. It's one of those things where you could do damn near almost every day. And, the second you get away from them makes it extremely difficult to continue to progress or at least maintain what you were doing before. They go away really quick.
For sure, dude. I love it, man. Do you have anything else for the people today on this episode? Anything else that you're doing? Anything else that you wanted to dive into?
Oh man, I think just keeping the right mindset through the holidays. By the time people listen to this, they're hopefully in their new routine or attacking their 2024 goals. And I would just say, keep it simple, put one foot in front of the other. Don't worry about making drastic changes. We talked about some things to implement here that we're going to do specifically and that we are currently doing. And we didn't talk about the entire kitchen sink, right? We're not throwing a ton of stuff out there. We're just talking about maybe one or two things that we're going to continue to implement or implement that's brand new, right? You didn't hear us talk about 5, 6, 7 different new things that we're going to add onto our plate, because obviously you and I both know that we have to do it and give ourselves that low hanging fruit so that we can keep continuing to put one foot in front of the other and give ourselves a chance and opportunity to progress versus adding too many things at once.
I love it. And I echo that. That's great advice. If you missed our episode last week, it was on how to get started in your journey. We know that so many people have the New Year's resolution, and that's awesome. But we just encourage you to listen to that episode because it's going to give you some good advice on how to do it sustainably and make sure that you can actually be somebody who a year from now, you're not restarting again and doing another New Year's resolution. I would encourage you to not even have a fucking New Year's resolution personally. Just have a goal, right? Like have a goal. I want to do this. I want to get healthier. I want to lose X amount of pounds, or I want to, whatever it is, I want to look a certain way. It kind of do it that way. Don't have a New Year's resolution. Those generally fail. And think about sustainability within it, right? Go watch that episode or listen to that episode It's out now, and it has a lot of great advice on stuff that we've done in the past, things that we've done with our clients, and all of that stuff to help you in the new year. And so thank you so much, everybody, for listening, watching, and hope you have a good rest of the day, a good rest of the week, and we'll be talking to you soon.